All right, we're back with our weekly recap from our picks last week. Ashley, I'd been on a heater recently, 5-0, and got turned around a little bit, got derailed. I went 1-2, but I will talk first about...
Yeah, give us how the Flames had your back, because listen, there are still people in this world that will be there for you when you need them. Not that many, but in your case, the Calgary Flames.
And who knew it was going to be Johnny Hockey, Johnny Gaudreau himself. Besides 2018, when he had a really great season, the last 4 or 5 years, he's been just kind of an average hockey player, making a ton of money. The Calgary Flames, at the beginning of the season, everyone thought, oh my God, they've shipped off half their team in the last 2-3 years. This is going to be a rebuilding year, but with people like Tanev, they are just on a roll right now. I've got them coming out of the West now with Colorado 1-2. It was Vegas before, but I think they've really passed that mark.
The Oilers are interesting because they sit currently in a playoff spot in the Pacific, but they are in a battle for the wild card race with the Golden Knights, who you mentioned, as well as low-key the Canucks. They're like only a few points back. Yeah,
and that's an interesting game that I'm watching this week, Canucks versus Flames. That's going to be a great one. But like you said, Edmonton Oilers, I mean, when you play Tampa Bay, we're seeing some cracks. There's some cracks in the dynasty. They win the Stanley Cup 2 years in a row, but this year, when you walk into Edmonton, and there are 7 penalties that you give up. That is not a disciplined, well-coached team in the moment, and that's hard to say about Tampa. And then lastly, my heart broke. I was in Montreal watching the Montreal versus Seattle game. You put them on a roll, but that roll got derailed, and I have to say, watching the game in full, it was very, very hard to watch.
Well, at that point, it's like it's lucky that they went on the run that they went on. When you see them come back down to earth a little bit, respectfully.
It really are. They remind me of a team that they have a lot of pieces in play. They have a lot of great people. They've got a lot of injuries right now, but they have no defense. You, on the other hand, the NBA, you went 1-1, and we learned that when Stephen A. Smith comes onto TV and screams at LeBron for 30 minutes, you bet on LeBron.
You pound the over.
You pound the over.
And listen, I did not do that. I decided to go with the Kyle Kuzma revenge game, which, like, listen, I get it. I get it. It's tough. But the way that he was shipped out, I was like, he's going to want to prove himself. And he's been having a hell of a season for the Washington Wizards. He had 23 points in the game. And quite frankly, the Lakers needed every single thing LeBron had in his toolkit to win. So they go on a 22-8 run late in the game. They take the lead with about 2.5 minutes left. LeBron had 12 of those 22 points, and he became the oldest man in the NBA to have multiple 50-point games in a season, surpassing Bernard King in the 90s. And so again, LeBron James continuing to be not just playing at his age, elite at his age. But it's a huge undertaking because I feel as though those miles on those tires are wearing out. Like the tread is going to be gone sooner than it had to have been had he had more support in the Lakers group.
I know, but you say that about a 31, 32-year-old, not somebody at this age that's doing elite things. Especially, too, they bring in someone like Russell Westbrook, who, I mean, he looks dejected. It looks like he doesn't belong in LA. He's shooting 9% from 3 since the All-Star break.
1-1 because I got the Boston Celtics game right.
of old.
They're looking good, man. They have a lot of people that are playing up to their potential. You have Tatum dropping 31. You have Jaylen Brown, who's contributing. Marcus Smart in that game had 20 points, too, against the Detroit Pistons, who, by the way, they ran out of magic a little bit. Their tanks were on empty. They beat the Raptors, which is their favorite thing to do. They don't ask for anything for Christmas. They just ask for multiple games against the Raptors.
You said the Raptors were done without the point guards they were missing. Fred comes back. He didn't play the whole game, but he adds that presence like we spoke about last week.
And he just does it the right way, right? I think it's kind of an antiquated thing to say, and it can be old-fashioned and mean nothing, but in an instance where you have a lot of young guys, you have OG Anunoby, who's not playing, you have Scotty Barnes, who's trying to find his way, Gary Trent Jr., who's like finally found a home in Toronto. Anyway, they went on a heater on the West Coast. They beat the Suns, they beat the Nuggets, they won 4 in a row earlier in the week.
The parity in sports this year.
You love to see it. All right, so just one quick thing, though. When Brad and I talk about the games that we have for the week, if we do 2 picks, 3 picks, sometimes even 5 when he goes crazy, it has nothing to do with a parlay unless we specifically mention it, because we notice that some people are betting along with us, which we love to see. But unless we say specifically, hey, this is a parlay that we're thinking of, single game bets, okay?